couple years ago, after we won the championship, you said, look at his face. You said.
So y'all, everyone saw me crying. Like, that was all for 52 years of everything in sports going on in Cleveland. And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time. Everybody was just talking how they were the greatest team of all time. Like, they was the greatest team to ever assemble. And for us to come back, you know, the way we came back in that fashion, I was like, you did something special.
Have you ever told the same story so many times that it starts remixing itself in your own head? Yeah. NBA fans are watching that happen in real time, and now they're saying LeBron James just dropped the Deluxe re-release. Media members are calling it out loudly. Fans are rewinding clips frame by frame, and the internet is yelling the same question in perfect unison.
Probably all-time favorite LeBron be lying moment is when he was like, yo, Kobe was out there, but I knew he was going to score 70 that
Bro, I'm telling you, people, every time I say something, everyone think it's a lie. I got homies that was literally at the house with me when Kobe was dropping the 81. When he got 60, we watching the game, I'm like, oh shit. Yo, he might go for 80 tonight. No, I'm telling you.
What did he say back then? What did he say now? And why does it feel like we've heard this exact story before? This isn't normal basketball noise. This isn't about missed shots, locker room tension, or bad playoff games. This is a different kind of chaos. The kind that shows up when a superstar keeps narrating reality like it's a movie they already watched, twice, before anyone else even bought tickets. That's the cloud hanging over LeBron right now. And no, it has nothing to do with talent, titles, or longevity. Those arguments are cooked, buried, and archived. This is about the storytelling, the certainty, and that strange habit of turning hindsight into prophecy with the confidence of someone betting nobody will ever rewind the tape. It usually starts small. A playful comment here, a light joke there, like casually downplaying massive wealth as if decades of contracts, endorsements, and business empires just vanished overnight.
I hope they like. We've always said on here, we don't want to see LeBron being a person that's getting 16, 17 a game.
Nah, he never gonna do that. He's gonna get 25, bro. He's gonna get 25.
I just hope it's his last year.
It's not.
If they winning, bro, LeBron gonna keep hooping.
We gonna know when it's Bron last year, bro. He's doing the tour.
That's what I'm saying. We're gonna know, bro.
Last year was the first year he didn't average 25 in his career since his.
What do you have?
20.
And that's where people stop laughing and start squinting, because when someone bends reality often enough, even jokes start sounding like quiet edits. When the guy who helped redefine athlete branding suddenly acts like his bank account is on life support, fans don't chuckle, they pause. And here's the wild part. None of this is necessary. LeBron doesn't need extra polish. His resume looks like it was built on rookie mode. Yet normal moments keep getting extra seasoning. Like reality alone isn't spicy enough. Over time, fans notice the pattern. And once patterns show up, analysis is inevitable. If you're catching this breakdown, tap subscribe right now. This story is only heating up. One of the clearest examples pops up whenever LeBron James starts talking about predicting the future, especially when his own family is involved.
I hated the way I retired because I sucked. Nope. Jim Brown.
Suddenly we get these ultra-detailed stories about spotting NBA-level greatness in a very young child, complete with play-by-play visuals, dramatic pauses, and that perfectly timed "I knew it" moment. Now let's be clear, parents believing in their kids is normal. That part isn't strange at all, but narrating a locked-in professional future years before real competition, real pressure, and real uncertainty even show up, that's where belief quietly turns into revisionist storytelling. And here's the pattern that people can't unsee. These stories never show up while the outcome is still unclear. They always arrive after the results are secured, after the dust settles, after there's nothing left to risk. The certainty is retroactive, not predictive, and that's a big difference. The same thing happens with legendary moments that didn't even belong to him.
On now just telling grandpa tales. People are dragging him. I don't know which it's for, whether he's lied about watching the Godfather movies and then isn't able to recite anything from the Godfather movies, or saying that he was on Migos before anybody else was, saying that he was touting them in 2010 when their first mixtape was in 2011.
Dan, he knew Migos before Migos even started.
Take historic performances by other players that somehow get folded back into LeBron's personal timeline. Saying he foresaw Kobe Bryant's iconic scoring night years later sounds incredible, until you realize the prediction only exists as a memory, recalled long after history already stamped it. Real predictions leave receipts. They leave timestamps. They leave proof. These stories show up fully polished after the fact, backed by nothing but confidence and vibes. And it doesn't stop with basketball. Cultural moments get the same treatment. Claims of recognizing musical greatness before it went mainstream sound smooth, until timelines get checked and the math doesn't add up. The influence wasn't there yet, the sound hadn't landed yet, but the foresight somehow was.
You know, I think he's played 21, 22 years. He's been the GOAT for so long. He's maintained the stats. We appreciate what he brought to the game and how he's held the mantle. Ron is one of them ones. We appreciate him. But, you know, I think this is time. I think his time is up. But we appreciate what he's done for the league.
Putting the shot clock expiration on Brian, man.
Even in-game moments aren't safe. A tough shot under pressure turns into a near mythical scene. Blurred vision, perfect aim, pure willpower conquering physics. If this pattern feels familiar, hit subscribe now. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it, and this story keeps stacking layers. Repeating a quote and calling it a personal mantra while the original author is sitting a few feet away creates a silence louder than any argument ever could. Nobody even needs to say anything. The pause says it all. The same thing happens when books are carried into interviews to signal depth, only for moments later admitting the pages were barely touched. That's not curiosity, and that's image management. And once people catch it, they don't forget it. The pattern keeps showing up elsewhere too. Declaring love for classic films, but failing to recall a single real scene makes the appreciation feel rehearsed, not lived.
I think LeBron should be compared to Michael Jordan either. Right. I think LeBron should be compared to Magic Johnson.
Right, I agree with that.
I think, you know, whoever started that shit up got it totally wrong, man. LeBron is not no damn Michael Jordan. Kobe is more like Michael Jordan.
Exactly.
LeBron is more like Magic Johnson.
Exactly.
It's like, they wanted to make a story from the news or something, I guess, so they just threw their name up in there. But absolutely, man, I don't see how you really compare.
It sounds like admiration as performance, not experience. Even outside basketball, casual commentary has exposed cracks, confidently talking about other sports, then tripping over basic facts right after. Laughing it off doesn't erase the original claim of authority, especially when it keeps happening. If anything, it confirms what many already suspect. Confidence shows up first, verification later. This is where voices like Chris Webber start to matter. When former players speak, even subtly, it carries weight. They understand locker rooms, egos, pressure, and how narratives get shaped behind the scenes. So when their comments independently hint at the same issue, it stops feeling random. It starts feeling like polite confirmation. The media tone didn't change because LeBron James suddenly became less great. That's lazy thinking. It changed because the story started stacking, and they stopped lining up. When someone bends small, unnecessary details people don't accuse, they wonder why. And honestly, the psychology checks out. 2 decades under a microscope creates a need to control perception. Foresight removes luck. Randomness gets reframed as destiny. But here's the irony. None of it is needed. The basketball legacy is locked. The records stand. Yet by trying to be both the hero and the historian, the narrative got messy. Younger fans catch this fastest. They grew up with receipts, clips, and timestamps. They don't just hear stories, they check them. And when stories don't line up with evidence, trust doesn't automatically follow. If you're still here, hit subscribe, because this conversation isn't slowing down anytime soon. That's exactly why this conversation feels different now. It isn't loud, it isn't emotional, it isn't fueled by rage or rivalry. It's analytical. People aren't yelling, they're comparing notes. And once that shift happens, perception doesn't flip overnight. It settles quietly and sticks permanently.
The argument about the greatest of all time, which LeBron James relit this week when he was heard by everyone on the latest episode of More Than an Athlete, currently available on ESPN+, saying this.
That one right there made me the greatest player of all time.
For
That's
so
what
many
I felt.
reasons.
I was super ecstatic to win one for Cleveland because of the 52-year drought. Like, I was ecstatic. Like, obviously, I showed that the first wave of emotion was when everyone saw me crying. Like, that was all for 52 years of everything in sports.
Let's be clear about one thing. LeBron James will always be one of the greatest to ever touch a basketball. That part is not up for debate and never was. The talent stands. The accolades stand. The legacy is locked. What's under scrutiny now isn't the greatness. It's the reliability of the narrator behind it. Because when the stories start demanding more attention than the game itself, something changes. The audience doesn't argue, they don't attack, they stop engaging, and silence steps in to do the talking. That silence feels louder because it no longer feels accidental. What once passed as harmless exaggeration now feels systematic, like a reflex that kicks in whenever a moment risks feeling ordinary. Fatigue sets in when fans realize they're being sold inevitability instead of experience. Competition turns into confirmation. The outcome starts feeling pre-written, like the game is just a formality waiting for the announcement. And the funny part, none of the extra layers were ever needed. Nobody asked LeBron to be a prophet.
Because I was a witness, no pun intended. I was a witness, no pun intended. You were like, I believe that right there, after we won championship, made me the greatest because you had done something that had never been done before. I watched it and I was like, kind of like, not the Channing Jordan, it wasn't that, but I was like, ooh, our guy's got a lot of haters that are gonna use this against him. And so the same moment, now your fourth championship, and that same opportunity was given to you.
Nobody needed him to scout future legends, predict cultural shifts, or certify greatness before it happened. The basketball was already enough, but the narrative keeps expanding. Almost like silence might be mistaken for doubt, and doubt might look like weakness. Ironically, that approach backfires. Instead of reinforcing authority, it invites scrutiny. Instead of elevating moments, it sends people back to rewatch them frame by frame. Confidence stops persuading when it becomes predictable, and former players understand this instinctively, which is why their reactions usually come wrapped in humor, not confrontation. They know the difference between confidence and performance. And once journalists and analysts stop talking about individual moments and start pointing out patterns, the conversation has already moved on. At that stage, defending one quote or one story completely misses the point. There's also a clear generational split happening here. Younger fans didn't grow up relying on memory or legend. They grew up with everything archived in real time, clips, screenshots, full games on demand. They don't argue recollection, they verify it. When stories clash with footage, timestamps win every time. That doesn't make them cynical or disrespectful. It makes them conditioned to check first.
Super LeBron fan, I want to say LeBron's a liar. So since that, what is your favorite LeBron lie of all time?
Easily the time where he goes, I said before the game Kobe's going to drop 70 points tonight, and we're like, you did?
Cap. Shout out, recipe takeoff, Cap. My favorite LeBron lie is not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six. You did win 2. I respect it. But at the same time, you didn't win 5 championships, my brother. And I'm still waiting on those other 5 chips right now.
For them, trust isn't built through repetition, it's built through consistency. And here's the wild part. This could all stop effortlessly. No corrections needed, no apologies required. LeBron James isn't risking his status or his respect with these stories. That's not what's at stake. He's risking something quieter. He risks turning awe into analysis. He risks shifting attention from performance to presentation. He risks making people listen more closely to what he says than to what he did. And in sports, once the audience starts focusing on the narration more than the game, the magic changes. The plays still count. The records still stand, but the relationship shifts. That distance is subtle and powerful because it changes how moments land in real time. When something incredible happens on the court, the reaction used to be instant awe, pure disbelief, celebration. Now, for a growing group of fans, that reaction comes with a second thought, a quiet pause, a question about how this moment will be framed later.
After I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
As you can imagine, when LeBron James said that he's the GOAT, many NBA legends felt that they had to comment on that. So let's have a look what some of the greatest players of all time had to say to that.
We heard LeBron call himself the greatest player of all time on that More Than an Athlete broadcast. He was talking about how he felt after the 2016 championship. Well, Danny Ainge not only disagrees, he strongly disagrees. Here's what he said about LeBron, and
Will it just exist? Or will it be reshaped into another story about foresight, inevitability, or destiny? That hesitation didn't exist before, and once it shows up, it doesn't leave easily. The irony? Unpredictability has always been one of LeBron's greatest strengths. Reading defenses on the fly, adapting mid-game, thriving in chaos. And that's exactly why this shift feels so strange. They remember the moments when outcomes felt fragile, when failure was possible, when nothing was guaranteed until the final second passed. Those moments mattered because they were uncertain. They carried tension, risk, real emotion. But when those same moments get reframed later as obvious, inevitable, or foreseen, something fades. The emotional memory dulls. The story becomes cleaner, but also colder. And that's why the criticism feels sharper now, even when it's delivered calmly. This isn't disrespect, it isn't jealousy, it isn't rivalry, it's pattern recognition. Once people notice that nearly every major success comes with a backdated prediction attached, they stop debating individual stories. They start questioning the entire framework behind them. And at that point, defending one story doesn't solve the problem, because the issue isn't what was said, it's how often the same structure keeps appearing. There's also a trust factor that stretches beyond basketball. When someone positions themselves as an authority not just in sports, but in culture, business, and social conversations, credibility becomes cumulative. Every exaggeration, even a small one, quietly chips away at that foundation. Eventually, audiences stop separating jokes from claims. The line blurs too many times, and once that happens, skepticism becomes automatic. None of this erases the legacy. It doesn't downgrade the greatness. LeBron James will always be mentioned among the greatest to ever play the game, but the tone of that conversation has changed. Now there's a footnote about narration, about storytelling, about the gap between what happened and how it was later described. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Greatness doesn't need constant explanation. It doesn't need early discovery. It doesn't need prophecy or advance announcements. Greatness needs space. The less it's controlled, the more powerful it feels. Because the most convincing stories aren't told with absolute certainty. They're the ones that leave room for uncertainty. Trust the audience to remember. Let history speak without interruption. If you made it to the end, subscribe and stay locked in. More breakdowns like this are coming, and this conversation isn't over.